All right, shalom, everybody here.
Shalom, shalom.
All right. Um, as you know, this is the first day of Hanukkah was after the Shabbat, and now we're going into the second day of Hanukkah for Yom Shishi of this week. Hanukkah began on the first day of the week, and it's going to end on the first day of the week. And during the Shabbat of Hanukkah, of course, we're not going to be able to cook because it's not a holy convocation. It's a memorial that was established by people to recognize what Yahweh did for us in ancient Israel. All right, so Hanukkah, that word Hanukkah itself means dedication. Chanukah or Chanukah. And the book of Maccabees is written regarding the families of the Maccabees, the families of Matthias. And Maccabees wasn't the name of the family. It was the nickname that people, over time began to say regarding the family. Because a man named Judah or Yehuda Maccabee, he came down like a hammer to fight against his enemies. And that's what the word Maccabees means. It means a hammer. So to bring everybody up to speed on the significance and the meaning of Hanukkah, the first 4 chapters of the book of Maccabees, 1Maccabees, goes into Hanukkah. All right. How the origin, the things that led up to it, and what happened to it. All right. And my head is covered because I'm not praying, I'm not prophesying. I'm reading and I'm teaching. It's a difference. Okay? It's a difference. So in the book of Maccabees, Ariasha'an is going to start reading for us in chapter 1. And chapter 1 has 64 verses. And if he wants to read all 64 verses, that's fine. But if he wants to pass the reading to his next brother in line, that's fine too. We're going to try to get through this so we don't keep you all night. Tragic events have have come into our knowledge. So we're going to just go into here, read it, give the understanding, and jump out. Before we get started, it talks about Alexander's 4 servants taking rulership after he died. His kingdom was divided into 4 parts, going to the north, east, south, and west. The Seleucus dynasty, which is where Antiochus Epiphanes come from, who's the villain in the book of Maccabees, he took over Babylon, Persia, Syria, part of Asia Minor. So basically part of Asia Minor, part of Turkey, going west, going east into modern day Iraq, and then going south into Syria and down to Israel. All right, so he ruled that. And then you have Ptolemy, who ruled mostly Egypt, but we know that Ptolemy also controlled part of Israel. That's how we were able to get the Maccabees, the Bible translated into Greek, because Antiochus, Ptolemy Philadelphus, he told the priests to come down and ask that they would translate the Bible. So we know that the Ptolemy also controlled a part of Israel from roughly 301 BC until about 200 BC. And the translation took place 250 BC, more or less. And after Ptolemy, we had Cassander. Cassander controlled Macedonia, which was the kingdom around like Eastern Greece, Bulgaria now. And he got usurped by the guy that was actually ruling Greece, which was Antigonus. Okay. So those are the 4 generals that are going to be referenced in verse 8 and verse 9. All right, so we'll start reading with Ariasha'an from 1 Maccabees chapter 1, verse 1.
And it happened that after Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chetim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece.
So Alexander united all of the Greek provinces and villages and peoples after he beat Darius. Darius was the king of the Persian Mede Empire. And Alexander's father was actually Philip. All right. Philip was a Macedonian, and Philip was the ruler. Philip was a king, and Philip took over, and he tried to get the people together in Macedon, but then Alexander united all of these people, Macedonia and the other Greek people. All right, go ahead.
And made many wars, and won many strongholds, and slew the kings of the earth.
So Alexander took over, made war with the people, was beating everybody up. And Daniel saw him as a goat that was going across the land, and he was just skipping, hardly touching the ground, which represented Alexander being able to conquer everybody easily through warfare. All right, go ahead.
And went through to the ends of the earth,
To the furthest empires, go ahead.
and took spoils of many nations,
And he took the goods and riches and resources, go ahead.
insomuch that the earth was quiet before him.
People that had empires and kingdoms stopped lifting up their swords against him. The whole Greek empire. He conquered from Babylon, northern Africa, Israel, Greece, Turkey, going up into the Caucasus regions. So he conquered all of the known world at that time, except down in, he didn't go too deep into sub-Saharan Africa. He did make it into sub-Saharan Africa, though, along the eastern part, along the Nile River, where they had the Greek civilizations and then the Kushite empires going down to Sudan. So he reached into Africa also. All right, go ahead.
Whereupon he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up.
So he was exalted, and he got pride. He got proud because he was conquering so many people. And they exalted him, meaning everybody gave him the credit for what he did. And one of the things that he did is that when he conquered the people, he didn't force the people to follow his religion. He let a lot of people keep their own religion, but you got to just, give me my money. We're going to put some outpost soldiers here. But he wasn't trying to make everybody be exactly like him. All right, read.
And he gathered a mighty strong host, and ruled over countries and nations and kings, who became tributaries unto him.
All right.
And after these things he fell sick, and perceived that he should die.
Go ahead. So this is he started his mission about 333 BC. All right, go ahead.
Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable, and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them.
Those are the 4 men that I named earlier. All right, go ahead.
While he was yet alive.
So he divided his kingdom while he was yet alive. And this is the same thing that David did to end conflict and turmoil. So if anybody come, they say, well, you out of order because Alexander already gave me this part of the empire. You don't respect our king, you out of order with him. All right, go ahead.
So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died.
So he ruled 12 years. All right. So you're talking about 33 minus 12 is 21. So about 321 BC is when he died. Read.
And his servants bare rule, every one in his place. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves.
I mean, they made themselves kings, rulers.
So did their sons after them many years.
So it was a kingdom that they set up that they inherited through the family line.
And evils were multiplied in the earth.
Evils meaning that they multiplied, especially Roman idolatry, different forms of fornications. Okay, evils were multiplied because now what the Greeks were doing, the wickedness that they were doing, was spreading to nations that didn't necessarily indulge in those types of wickednesses. All right, so that's why they say evils multiplied. Go ahead.
And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes.
So Antiochus Epiphanes, this is the one we're concerned about, that came into Israel. Read.
Son of Antiochus the king, who had been in hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks.
Now they're talking about the a hostage. The hostage wasn't the same then as the way we use the word now. Okay, the hostage then was that your children were sent to the rulers of another kingdom to learn the ways and to be educated by those people. Okay, so that way, if you tried to attack them, they would kill your son or kill your children. So the hostage was a guarantee against you doing something that was going to have a negative impact on the rulership of the on the rulership of the kingdom. And it says, in the 130th and seventh year of the kingdom of the Greeks. Go ahead.
In those days went there out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow.
So because Israel was being ostracized and criticized for following the one true God, Yahweh, and the other nations were following multiple gods, and the Greeks taught you could follow multiple gods. So now that idolatry, the Greeks was ruling everybody. Everybody was being influenced to worship many gods, not just worship one God. So this is where the problem comes in, that because we can't worship any God but Yahweh. All right. So they persuaded some people and tried to encourage some people to be like the heathen, to follow the ways of the Gentiles. Go ahead.
So this device pleased them well.
Mhm.
Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen, whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen.
And the custom of the heathen was that the men would exercise and do sports and stuff with no clothes on. All right, in Jerusalem. So that's what's going on now. They now are turning Jerusalem into a freak show, doing things that Yahweh said not to do in a way he said don't do it. Read.
And made themselves uncircumcised.
Made themselves uncircumcised means that the original circumcision was called a brit bila. All right, where you had like a little, there's a brit priya and there's a brit mila. All right, now originally it was just a little piece of skin that was cut off. All right, and it would retract when the member was not flaccid. It would retract. Okay, but then they started to pull it all the way up. So what they did was they put weights on the end of that skin to stretch out the skin on the male member. And when they wrestled naked, because you might say, what does being uncircumcised have to do with anything? Well, make themselves uncircumcised means they would literally tie weights to their member, to the skin on their member, to make the skin stretch the skin out. Why? So that when they went into the gymnasium naked, they wouldn't be criticized for being Israelites. They wouldn't be criticized for being Jews, all right, for being keepers of the covenant. So they were shamed. So they reversed the covenant that they made with Abraham to wrestle around with some people, their own brothers and Gentiles, with oil on their bodies, all naked and stuff. This is what happened. Go ahead.
And forsook the holy covenant, and joined themselves to the heathen, and were sold to do mischief. Now when the kingdom was established before Antiochus, he thought to reign over Egypt, that he might have dominion of two realms. Wherefore,
all right. So when Antiochus he came into power, all right, and remember his power area was from Asia Minor all the way to Syria. But what happens that once you get into Israel, you go south, you get into Egypt. So he wanted to control the whole zone pretty much. He controlled Iraq, Iran, Jordan, Israel, Syria, a large portion of Turkey. And then he said, well, I want Egypt too. What was important about Egypt? It was a major trading port, and it was a gateway into. It was an easy gateway into Africa and into the Indian Ocean, closer to Greece. All right, and go ahead.
Wherefore he entered into Egypt with a great multitude, with chariots and elephants and horsemen, and a great navy, and made war against Ptolemy, king of Egypt.
So he went against. So see how he's out of order. Alexander already set up the kingdom, and he's going against Ptolemy, saying that he wants what was given to Ptolemy. He's coveting, so he's breaking the commandments, but they don't care because it's all about control and power. But they should respect what Alexander gave them. All right, Alexander did not harm Israel when he came into Israel because the priest showed him the prophecies about himself, so he didn't harm the Israelites. So what happened was when he died, now his children and their descendants, they want more. Okay, because this is about 130 years after he died. All right, so now everybody wants more. All right, go ahead.
And Ptolemy was afraid of him and fled, and many
So Ptolemy got scared.
were wounded to death. Thus they got the strong cities in the land of Egypt, and he took the spoils thereof. And after that, Antiochus had smitten Egypt, and he returned again in the 143rd year, and went up against Israel and Jerusalem.
What verse is that?
Verse 20.
When it talks about that, what'd you say, 134th year?
140th.
140th year? That's excuse me. It wasn't one. This is the they went to the sun, but then they went backwards and talked about Antiochus. But this right here is about 198, excuse me, 198 BC. All right, go ahead.
And went up against Israel and Jerusalem with a great multitude,
Mm-hmm.
and entered proudly into the sanctuary.
So now Ptolemy, now this is going into this is going into about 167 BC. Okay, 167 BC. Go ahead.
And took away the golden altar and the candlestick of light and all the vessels thereof.
So they did this, but we got it back pretty easily. Right, this is going into Lamentations chapter 4. Go ahead.
And the table of the showbread.
So all of the gold instruments, all of the valuable and beautiful furniture that we had in the temple, the tabernacle. At this point, the temple they took it, they stole it. Go ahead.
And the pouring vessels, and the vials, and the censers of gold, and the veil, and the crown, and the golden ornaments.
Slow down a little bit.
And the golden ornaments.
Okay, I see. Okay.
That were before the temple, all which he pulled off.
So they stealing everything, right? Looting. And that's what a lot of empires do. They want to loot because that's how the soldiers get paid too. Soldiers get paid the salary, but they also could keep what they stole. All right, read.
He took also the silver and the gold and the precious vessels.
Now, if you look at 1Maccabees, and you look at Lamentations chapter 1, Lamentations chapter 4, it talks about the sons. It talks about they took my silver, they took my gold, they took my precious things. All right, that's going into the actual physical stuff. But it's also going into the Israelites. All right, go ahead.
Also, he took the hidden treasures which he found, and when he had taken all away, he went into his own land, having made a great massacre, and spoke very proudly. Therefore, there was great mourning in Israel, in every place where they were.
Because they had tore up Jerusalem. They tore up Israel. All right, they tore it up. Read.
So that the princes and elders mourned.
The princes and the rulers, the leaders, were in mourning. They were very sad, right, over what happened to some people. Some people got killed for trying to defend. So there was death. And some people also were saddened by what happened. So people were dying and they were looting. And here on this day, we find ourselves mourning also because of death. All right, go ahead.
The virgins and young
All right,
men
so the virgins are the ones that weren't married. Go ahead.
and young men
The young men were the ones that weren't married. Go ahead.
were made feeble,
hmm
and the beauty of woman was changed.
So people's countenance changed. The way they look changed. All right. The war would do that to you. Read.
Every bridegroom took up
The
lamentation,
bridegroom is the woman that was going to get married, like the woman that was promised in marriage. Go ahead.
and she that sat in the marriage chamber was in heaviness.
So the one that was actually, you know, in a process of the marriage. So we have three types of women. They have the unmarried virgin. They have the and also the bridegroom going into the man. Let me correct myself. The bridegroom is going into the man. All right. And he's marrying the woman that he was betrothed to. And then they got the one that sat in the marriage chamber, which is the bride. She's sitting in heaviness also. So you got the three types: somebody promised in marriage, somebody about to get married, all right, and then the virgin woman also. All right, go ahead.
The lamb,
And I think a lot of people need to understand the fact, and this is a sidebar, that if you were a woman that ever had sex with a man, and that man was not your husband, sadly, you were considered to be a whore. You were considered to be a zanah. You're considered to be, that's the Hebrew word, is zanah, Zanah. And when you read in Josephus tell you that it was a shame. Most Israelite men refused to marry a woman that was not, that it was not a virgin. And of course, the man and the woman contribute to the woman not being a virgin now, but it just shows you that the mentality of the woman that's not a virgin, that's been ran through by different men, thinking that they're a prize for a man. You're not a prize for a man. Modern times, you may be going off of your beauty, but in the ancient times, it wasn't just your beauty. It was your sexual activity that was used to determine what was your worth in society to a single man. So a lot of y'all have put yourself up on this high horse of pride, thinking that because you're cute, because you're beautiful, because you got smooth dark skin or smooth light skin, because you got thick woolly hair or thin straight hair, whatever the case may be, that you're a catch. And you very well may be a catch, but you need to conduct yourself with humility, knowing that by biblical standards, you can't change that. See, a man that was a whoremonger, he could change that. But the woman that he made a whore, she could never change that status. She was a zanah. All right. So now when we talk, read that again.
every bridegroom took up lamentation, and she that sat in the marriage chamber was in heaviness.
So she was heavy. The woman that was going to get married was sad. Why? Because we're getting married in the middle of all of this evil that's happening to us. I just want to put that in there as a quick side note. All right. That a lot of you sisters have to humble yourself. You have to humble yourself, because that's what's causing the whoredom in Israel. If you don't give it up to a man, there won't be no more whores. You can blame the man, but then you call him a dog. You can't stop a dog from being a dog. All right. But if I have a female dog, which is called a bitch, I can keep my bitch in the house. I can keep my female dog in the house when she's in heat. The dogs can't get to her. All right. So I'm not saying it's the woman's fault, but what I'm saying is that you have the control, because nobody's raping you to make you have sex with them, multiple men, many sexual interactions. So you need to repent, stop that, and make sure that you have sexual interaction with a man that is betrothed to you, and you betrothed to him, and that is going to be your husband for life. Period. Point blank.
Can I say something?
Uh-huh.
I remember when I was in Nachig, like half hour from here, one guy told me that, if I'm not mistaken, it was like in a little community part of Nachig. It was a young woman that the young man already know that he already had a boyfriend. So she started having problems because nobody wanted her to be for marriage. again because she already had a boyfriend.
That's just a boyfriend.
Yeah,
That's
just a
not even
boyfriend.
knowing
And
what they did, or if she not. That's not even having a baby or nothing, right?
yeah, she got to move to another place because everybody already know this, so nobody want her.
She's not a virgin no more, probably, right?
Yeah,
Right, you see that? So that's even in some cultures now. It's like that. The woman, when she gets married, and how old was the girl?
I don't know how old.
Probably a young
Maybe it
lady.
was younger than 20, maybe 19.
Okay, so it's a young woman, wasn't a virgin, and she had to move to another city because nobody wanted to deal with her in her own area where she was from. And that's the problem having these big cities. If you men and women were living in small towns, we wouldn't have these problems that we have because the town leaders and your parents would know each other. All right. Um, I need somebody to get the next verse, please. I think he's coming out now. Verse 28.
The land also was moved for the inhabitants thereof, and all the house of Jacob was covered with confusion. And after 2 years fully expired, the king sent his chief collector of tribute unto the cities of Judah, who came unto Jerusalem with a great multitude.
So now the Gentiles want the money. They want the gold and silver. They want you to pay them for the conquest they just gave you. Go ahead.
And spake peaceable words unto them.
So they were speaking nice to them. Go ahead.
But all was deceit.
But they were speaking nice words just to get their confidence. Go ahead.
For when they had given him credence, he fell suddenly upon the city.
So they let him in, and they thought he was coming peaceably, and they had a good conversation, and then he attacked the city. Read.
And smote it very sore, and destroyed much people of Israel.
So a lot of our people got murdered. So we begin with the victory of Hanukkah, but we have to remember that this story starts in blood. It's not you can't overlook the casualties of this war that the Greeks forced us into, and we beat them ultimately. All right, go ahead.
And destroyed much people of Israel.
Mm-hmm.
And when he had taken all the spoils of the city and set it on fire,
set Jerusalem on fire, and they robbed the people. Go ahead.
And pulled down the houses and walls thereof on every side.
They tore down the buildings. Go ahead.
But the women and children took they captive and possessed the cattle.
You see, they took the people into slavery, captive. Some of them went back to Greece. Some of them were sold off into slavery. Children were sold off. All right. Now remember the whole empire that was controlled at this time. All right, the whole empire that was controlled at this time, going from Egypt all the way to Asia, Iraq and Iran. All right, so they controlled that whole area. You understand? So when they controlled that area, some of the people, which were Israelites, were sold. So, and you have people in those areas now that are Israelites that don't even know that they're Israelites, and that's why you may have people that look like a Gentile, but in a spirit, they may feel like, you know what, I want to follow the God of Israel. And they try to get with you, and they, you teach them certain things, and and that's that. All right, go ahead.
Then builded they the city of David with a great and strong wall.
So these Gentiles built up the city of David. All right, the city of David, which is going outside of the walls of Jerusalem per se. Over by the Kidron Valley, all right, going southwest, all right, southwest from the Mount of Olives, almost diagonal to the Mount of Olives is going to be the city of David, located in the town or area of Siluan today, Silwan. All right, go ahead.
And with mighty towers, and made it strongholds for them.
Mm-hmm.
And they put therein a sinful nation, wicked men, and fortified themselves therein.
So they put wicked people inside the city of David. All right, so it became a Gentile stronghold, a Gentile fortress, right?
They stored it also with armor and victuals.
Victuals is food.
And when they had gathered together the spoils of Jerusalem,
they collected all of their loot.
they laid them up there, so that they became a sore snare.
Go ahead.
For it was a place to lie in wait against the sanctuary, and an evil adversary to Israel.
Go ahead.
Thus they shed innocent blood on every side of the sanctuary and defiled it.
Every side of the sanctuary and defiled it. All right. So the sanctuary was defiled. The sanctuary is not inside of the city of inside the where the western wall is. All right. The sanctuary was a little bit west of the city of David. All right. It wasn't up there inside those walls where the western wall is now. That's actually was part of the Fort Antonia that the Greeks have now, that the people have there now. Of course, all that wasn't there back then, but if you look at it now, that's where they worship Jupiter at. All right, that's where they worship Jupiter. All right, on that what they call the Western Wall. All right, now you leave that Western Wall and you come down, you go a little bit to your left, leaving out from the gate, which is called the Dung Gate. That's more or less the area where the ancient temple was at. All right, go ahead.
For it was a place to lie in wait against the sanctuary, and an evil adversary to Israel. They shed innocent blood on every side of
They started murdering the people. Innocent blood is when you murder. So they were murdering our people. Okay?
on every side of the sanctuary and defiled it, insomuch that the inhabitants of Jerusalem fled because of them, whereupon the city was...
So the people ran out the city. So this is what's leading up to Maccabees fighting against the Greeks. This is what's leading up to Hanukkah. All right, go ahead.
Whereupon the city was made an habitation of strangers, and became strange to those that were born in her, and her own children left her.
So this is kind of beginning of a small piece of what Hamashiach said. You can see into it when he said, Jerusalem shall be trodden down to the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Was that Luke 19:21, right? Luke 19:21-24. Hamashiach said Jerusalem's going to be trampled down by Gentiles. So now you see the Gentiles actually taking over the city, taking over Jerusalem. Go ahead.
Her sanctuary was laid waste like a wilderness. Her feasts were turned into mourning, her Sabbath into reproach, her honor into contempt. Because
the people were not allowed access to that. Meanwhile, what do you got? Remember what else you have going on? What's the contrast? You got other Israelite brothers and sisters, brothers wrestling naked in the gymnasium. All right. And this was going on now. You got our people, some of them just wicked, following the ways of the Gentile, calling themselves Hebrews. Then you got those that are calling themselves Hebrews that are criticized for doing what the scriptures actually say and looked upon funny because of how they dress, how they talk, how they keep the Sabbath, how they present themselves. But those that have succumbed to Hellenization, looking like Gentiles, those are the Israelites that get pushed to the forefront. The ones that are really pushing Torah don't get pushed to the forefront. Only the ones that don't push the Torah, but they push something else that's appealing to people's eyes, they get promoted by social media paradigms and by the algorithms. Read.
Mm-hmm. Her feasts were turned into mourning, her Sabbaths into reproach, her honor into contempt. As had been her glory, so was her dishonor increased, and her excellency was turned into mourning.
Mm-hmm.
Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, and every one should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion.
So they started worshiping other gods. Read.
And sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Shabbat.
All right, so they sacrificed to idols and they profaned the Shabbat. And the same thing they're doing now. They're profaning the Shabbat. Most Israelites profane the Sabbath day. All right, go ahead.
For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws.
So he said, we're going to follow these Gentiles. And this is the spiritual part of Luke 21-24. Jerusalem being trampled down by the Gentiles. This is the spiritual aspect of the Gentiles pushing their doctrines onto Israel. All right, but it fulfills a lot of it because we were led captive too. But Hamashiach says that this is going to happen again. They shall fall by the edge of the sword, and they shall be led captive into all nations, and Jerusalem shall be trampled under foot by the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. So we fell by the edge of the sword, we were taken captive, but not into all nations. And Jerusalem was being trampled down by the Gentiles also, but we hadn't been led into captivity under all nations yet. That didn't happen until 70 AD plus. All right, go ahead, call your verse.
Verse 43. Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion.
So they want to follow the ways of the Gentile king, right?
And sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Shabbat.
Mm-hmm.
For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land, and offer burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple.
So now he's saying you got to sacrifice unto the false kings, the false gods, right?
And that they should profane the Shabbats.
Call your verse.
Verse 45.
And go ahead.
And festival days.
Profane the Sabbath and profane the feast days, meaning don't keep them holy. And the Israelites are doing the same thing now. They don't keep the Sabbath holy. Don't keep Passover holy. They don't keep the Day of Atonement holy. Our people have just become a bunch of wicked, rebellious, disobedient children against the Most High. Right? But the Most High has a reward for those that don't want to obey him, and he has a reward for those that do want to obey him. You got to decide for yourself which line you're going to be on. You're going to be on the left with the goats, or you're going to be on the right line with the sheep. It's your life, your soul, where you're going to spend eternity at. You're going to consent with the heathen, or you're going to follow what Yahweh gave Moses and gave to Yeshua HaMashiach, a.k.a. Yahushua. Read.
And pollute the sanctuary and holy people.
Go ahead.
Set up altars.
They made them set up altars.
And groves.
All the trees and worshiping the trees. And go ahead.
And chapels of idols.
They made them. That's what we got all around Mexico. They got little chapels with little pictures of a woman inside of them. All right. Chapels, going to worship little idols all over the place. All right. Altars are all over the place. You go to some of the towns around here, they got altars in the cities. We seen it with our own eyes. All right. We seen a man doing rituals with a little altar in front of him with skulls and stuff. I read.
And sacrifice
swine's flesh. This is what the Israelites did. Go ahead.
And unclean beasts.
All right, sacrificing swine's flesh and sacrificing unclean beasts. All right, go ahead.
That they should leave their children uncircumcised.
Don't circumcise your children anymore. And that's what's happening in a lot of Israelite countries. And ironically, the main place where the tribe of Judah was taken to, which is America, that's one of the only countries in this part of the world where circumcising your son in the hospital is almost mandatory. Everybody, most males born in America get circumcised. It's like they're born into covenant. Okay? So like almost automatic. They do it for you. All right? You don't find it in any other country you go to, people have a problem. Mexico, Guatemala, Dominican Republic. If you go to Ecuador, they have a problem with the circumcision. You got to pay somebody to do the circumcision. In America, it's part of the service of the baby being born. And that's one of the indicators that the people that the Most High needs to be in covenant to rule the nation, which is the tribe of Judah, was brought to America. Read.
And make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation.
All manner of uncleanness and things that are profane. Read.
To the end that they might forget the law.
To forget the law of the Most High. And our people have forgotten the law of the Most High right now. They don't respect the law of the Most High. I mean, you got brothers that's stealing from other brothers. Brothers that's dishonoring other brothers. Brothers that are lying to the brothers. All right? It's like no honor among Israel. And we just talking about your mouth. You know? You're just talking about your mouth. Brothers taking stuff from other brothers that's not theirs. All right? Brothers coveting another brother's wife, and it ain't even really your wife because you making a whore out of her. You don't want her to be yours. You want her to be yours for when you want her to be yours. After that, you want to kick her to the curb. So the whole nation's out of order. All right? So scripture says they're doing all manner of unclean things, all manner of profane things, making people forget the law of the Most High. How do you not forget the law? By hearing it and doing it. Isn't that what we told Yahweh? All that Yahweh has said will we do and hear. If you don't hear the law, how are you going to be reminded to do the law? Read.
To the end that they might forget the law and change all the ordinances.
And they've changed all of the ordinances. They've changed what's right and what's wrong. They've made the commandments of men the tradition of Israelites as opposed to what Yahweh has said. Read.
Whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die.
So whoever didn't obey the king and start worshiping these false gods and stop keeping the Torah, the king said these people are going to get murdered by his people. Read.
In the selfsame manner wrote he to his whole kingdom, and appointed overseers over all the people, commanding the cities of Judah to sacrifice, city by city.
So these are evil enforcers and snitches. He set up people to make the Israelites do evil. Read.
Verse 52. Then many of the people were gathered unto them, to wit, everyone that forsook the law, and so they committed evils in the land. So
the people gathered, the Israelites, the covenant people of Yahweh, they all gathered together and started breaking the commandments of the Most High voluntarily, because they didn't want the judgment and they didn't want to run away. They didn't want to give up the luxuries that they had acquired. All right. They didn't want to give up the being comfortable. They didn't want to give up the easy lifestyle that the Greeks would leave you alone if you just worship their God. They didn't want to do that. They wanted to give up the law, give up the Torah, and they wanted the ease of movement that came from worshiping their gods. They didn't want to stay true to Yahweh or have a hard life. They didn't want to be prosecuted or persecuted. Read.
And drove the Israelites into secret places.
Drove the Israelites mean they pushed us out of our city. The ones that didn't want to keep the commandments of the king, the ones that wanted to keep worshiping Yahweh, they pushed us out of the city. Read.
Even wheresoever they could flee for succor.
So wherever they could go to find help, that's where they got pushed to. Read.
Now the 15th day of the month, Caslu,
which is the 9th month. Go ahead.
In the 145th year, they set up an abomination of desolation.
So they set up a sacrifice in the temple to their gods. And what else?
On the altar, and builded idol altars throughout the cities of Judah.
And outside the temple, they built altars to sacrifice to the false gods. Read.
On every side.
All over the city. Read.
And burnt incense at the doors of their houses.
They were burning incense to false gods. Read.
And in the streets. And when they had rent in pieces the books of the law,
they tore up all of the Bibles that had the Torah. They tore up all of the first 5 books of the Bible. You understand? They took the Torah and they ripped it up. They took the first 5 books of the Bible. They didn't take the Psalms. They didn't take the Proverbs. They didn't take Isaiah. They took the books of the law. All right, the scrolls, and they did what with them?
And they burnt them with fire.
They burned them with fire. All right. They rent in pieces the books of the law. So they ripped them up into pieces, and then they burnt those books. Read.
And whosoever was found with the book of the testament, or if any committed to the law, the king's commandment was that they should put him to death.
So following the word of Yahweh was the death sentence. Go ahead.
Thus they did by their authority unto the Israelites every month to as many as were found in the cities.
So that a special thing. They went out every month and found all of the Israelites, probably collecting names, watching people. And then when the time came, they said, well, look, we need to go ahead and gather everybody up. We see where they are. We need to gather them around now. And they would gather us around, and then they did all of the killing. They did all of the harassing. They did all of the wickedness against those that were trying to keep the commandments of Yahweh. Read.
Now the 25th day of the month,
which is the 25th day of the month. Go ahead.
They did sacrifice upon the idol altar, which was upon the altar of Elohiah.
So they went to the altar of not Elohiah. Read
Altar
that.
of God.
No, not even God.
It says God, which was upon the altar of God.
Do God have a what? Who has an altar in Jerusalem?
They did sacrifice.
No, I'm asking you, who has an altar in Jerusalem?
The Gentiles,
No, who has an altar in Jerusalem inside the temple when Solomon built it?
us, the Israelites.
What God?
Yahweh.
All right. So the altar of God is talking about the altar of Yahweh. So they sacrificed upon Yahweh's altar. You understand what I'm saying? They took Yahweh's altar and they said, we're going to sacrifice to these false gods. Read.
At which time, according, they put to death certain women that caused their children to be circumcised.
As a mother circumcised a child, they put the mother to death. Read.
Hanged the infants about their necks.
They hung the babies around their mother's necks. All right, go ahead.
And rifled their houses.
That means they went into their house and just tore their house up. Okay, go ahead.
And slew them that circumcised.
And they found the men that circumcised the babies, and they murdered them too. All right, so this was a major problem. People getting murdered for circumcising, for keeping the Sabbath. So this is what's leading us up to the time of Hanukkah. But this is how it starts. It starts with people standing up for righteousness, and it starts with people selling out and not standing up for righteousness. Which side are you going to be on? You going to worship Yahweh? Or you're gonna take the easy way out and serve other gods so you don't got to run and hide nowhere? All right, read.
Howbeit, many in Israel
A lot of our people did what?
were fully resolved.
That means they had made up their mind to do what?
And confirmed in themselves not to eat any unclean thing.
They said they weren't going to break the law, especially not the diet laws. Read.
Therefore, they rather to die.
They said, well, I would rather be killed, be murdered by you Gentiles than what?
That they might not be defiled with meat.
So he said, I don't want to be defiled. All right. They didn't just pick off the pepperoni. They didn't just pick off the shrimp. They didn't just pick off the clam and the scallops and the lobster and the pig and the camel. All right, and the possum. All right, and the raccoon. They said we're not gonna be defiled with it at all. That means if that pizza got this on it, I don't want it. If that salad got bacon bits, I don't want the salad. I'm not gonna pick out the bacon bits. All right, they didn't want to defile themselves with that meat. Go ahead.
And that they might not profane the holy covenant. So then they died.
So because they didn't want to break the covenant of Yahweh when he told them in Leviticus chapter 11 and Deuteronomy chapter 14 what food to eat and not to eat, they wanted to obey Yahweh, so they didn't get put to death. So they didn't want to obey. They wanted to obey Yahweh, and even though they wanted to obey Yahweh, they got put to death by the Gentiles. All right, for doing the right thing in Yahweh's eyes, because the Gentiles want you to break the commandments of Yahweh. Right, that's how you always see a Gentile. You always see a wicked person. A lot of these Israelite people out here are telling people, hey, break these commandments. You don't got to keep these commandments. You can break these. We're in captivity. All right. Now, what's harder? What's harder? Your captivity or what these people going through right here? What's harder?
They're going through.
What they're going through is much harder than any type of captivity that we think that we're going through. They're getting killed for circumcising their kids. They're getting killed. Who's going to kill you for not eating unclean meat? Nobody. You see? All right, read last verse.
And there was very great wrath upon Israel.
All right, there was very great wrath upon Israel, meaning what? Meaning that the Gentiles, right, were angry with us for doing what Yahweh said to do. And because they were angry with us for doing what Yahweh said to do, they started to murder us and to kill us. All right. And that is the beginning of our uprising against the Greeks, which was kind of culminates in chapter 4, which we'll read that on the last 2 days of Hanukkah. We'll read chapter 4. All right, so thank you for your time. I appreciate you joining us to read these verses. I don't know if anybody has any questions or comments here or here. If you got any question or comment, go ahead and write it. If you got any question or comment here, just speak freely. Speak freely.
Uh,
All right.
yeah, when I was like a few years ago, I found out about when I was studying the Hanukkah, the word I don't remember the exact word in Greek, but it was gymnasium, something like that.
Mhm.
It means nakedness.
Right.
So that's why these people was going to the Greek gymnasiums all naked. And as far as I know, it was only for men at that time.
Only men. Only
Yeah.
men.
And and basically that's what happens. Not nakedness, but not naked, but almost. In every gymnasium around the world right now.
It's like that tradition didn't die.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it died at some point, but it picked back up.
Yeah, nobody wants to like work out like
regular clothes.
And,
right. You can wear tunic and work out,
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what the gym is. And in all the cities, you see these places like this. Honestly, the men and women should be in different areas, and they should have clothes on when they're working out. The Gentiles started that nastiness, and our people, participate in it today voluntarily. And by the way, the whole Olympics process was done to worship the gods of Mount Olympus in Greece. The whole Olympics, every 4 years, every 4 or 5 years, every 4 or 5 years, every 4 years, the Olympics was worshiping other gods. It was meant to show them their best, the best humans, so to speak. All right. Any other questions or comments?
And then you know what? Also, another thing is that you don't know if you're using any kind of a bench. You don't know who was. Women don't care about that.
Mm-hmm.
So
your workout bench. You don't know who's on there, what kind of fluids they have leaving from their body, how unclean they are, according to Torah standards. All right. All right. So that's what was that? 62 verses, 64 verses. So that was 1Maccabees chapter 1, verses 1 through 64. I guess we don't have any questions or comments for anybody in the audience. And of course, on here, you can't tell who's here, so you don't know, what people are watching, what people ain't watching. All you see is like numbers. So shalom to everybody. We're gonna get up off of here. If anybody have any questions or comments, you can let me know now. Sometimes there's a delay, so we'll wait a couple of minutes. All right, shalom, everybody. Shalom, 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 Hadassah. Shalom, Rapah, Ya Allah, Yashra Allah, 500. Shalom. All right, everybody. Hope everybody's okay. Hope you learn something. Just basic stuff. You read the scripture, you explain it. Not nothing really too difficult. Love you too, Rapah, Ya Allah. Nothing very difficult to understand about it. So very easy to see and understand. All right. Shalom.